Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, one of the most influential and revered figures in world history. Written during his imprisonment, the book chronicles his journey from his childhood in rural South Africa to his rise as a leader in the anti-apartheid movement, culminating in his release and eventual presidency of South Africa. Mandela's life is a testimony to resilience, determination, and the unyielding fight for justice. In Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela reflects on his personal experiences, political struggles, and the broader struggle for equality in South Africa, offering insight into his thoughts, values, and leadership. Early life and background. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the village of Mvezo in the Eastern Cape. He belonged to the Thembu royal family, though his family had been displaced from their traditional land. His early life was shaped by his connection to both the royal lineage and his exposure to the broader, often harsh realities of colonial South Africa. Mandela's autobiography paints a vivid picture of his formative years, his education, his introduction to the ways of the world, and his growing awareness of the racial inequalities that governed the society in which he lived. Mandela attended the local school, where his teacher gave him the name Nelson, as part of a tradition of giving African children Western names. From a young age, he was imbued with the values of his ancestors, values of respect, dignity, and responsibility. As he grew older, Mandela left his rural roots and moved to the city of Johannesburg, where he pursued higher education and joined the political struggle against apartheid. Education and political awakening. In the early stages of his life, Mandela was greatly influenced by his education. His move to Johannesburg was a turning point, as it marked his first real encounter with the oppressive systems that governed South African society. It was during his time in Johannesburg that Mandela encountered the African National Congress, ANC, and began to align himself with their ideals. The ANC was formed in 1912 with the purpose of advocating for the rights of the black population in South Africa and opposing the rising tide of racial discrimination that the white government was enforcing through apartheid policies. Mandela's education not only broadened his mind, but also allowed him to interact with fellow students and activists who shared his frustration and desire for change. The systematic oppression of black South Africans, combined with the realities of colonialism, fueled his political awakening. At university, Mandela became involved in student politics, which laid the foundation for his commitment to the struggle for social justice. Anti-apartheid struggle. The most significant period of Mandela's life, as depicted in Long Walk to Freedom, was his involvement in the anti-apartheid struggle. In the mid-20th century, South Africa was governed by an institutionalized system of racial segregation known as apartheid, which discriminated against non-white populations and stripped them of basic human rights. Under apartheid, the majority of the population, who were black Africans, faced severe limitations on their rights to education, land ownership, political participation, and even basic civil liberties. Mandela, along with other leaders within the ANC, worked tirelessly to challenge this oppressive system. His leadership in the ANC became central to the organization's resist efforts, which included boycotts, strikes, and protests. His involvement with the ANC led to his arrest and the beginning of his long imprisonment. The autobiography reveals the personal sacrifices that Mandela made for his cause, as well as the emotional and psychological toll that the struggle took on him and his family. Despite his personal sacrifices, Mandela remained firm in his commitment to his cause. He understood that the fight for equality and freedom was a long and difficult one, but he believed that it was a fight worth undertaking. Throughout Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela emphasizes the importance of unity, discipline, and commitment to a cause greater than oneself. Imprisonment and hardships. The central part of Long Walk to Freedom deals with Mandela's imprisonment, which lasted 27 years. After being arrested in 1962 for his role in organizing armed resistance against the apartheid regime, Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment. For much of his imprisonment, he was held on Robben Island, a remote island off the coast of Cape Town. The autobiography provides a poignant account of the harsh conditions he and other political prisoners endured during this time. They were subjected to forced labor, poor nutrition, and brutal treatment by prison authorities. Despite these conditions, Mandela's resolve remained unbroken. He used his time in prison to further his education, write, and maintain communication with the outside world through covert means. Mandela's writings from prison reveal a man who never lost hope. He found solace in the unity of the struggle and the belief that one day apartheid would fall. Throughout his time in prison, he continued to be a symbol of resistance and hope for millions of South Africans who were fighting for their own freedom. His letters and his conversations with fellow prisoners revealed his deep understanding of the interconnectedness of personal and political freedom. Mandela's perseverance, patience, and unshakable belief in justice helped sustain his spirit during the darkest days of his imprisonment. Leadership and negotiations. After his release in 1990, Mandela emerged as a global icon of freedom and human rights. His leadership was instrumental in negotiating the end of apartheid and fostering a peaceful transition to democracy in South Africa. The final chapters of Long Walk to Freedom reflect Mandela's experience in the post-apartheid world as he worked to heal the divisions that had scarred the country for decades. Mandela's ability to negotiate with his former oppressors was one of his defining qualities. He understood that reconciliation, rather than retribution, was key to building a democratic South Africa. His decision to lead the country through the complex process of nation building and his commitment to the principle of Ubuntu, the belief that I am because we are, was crucial to avoiding the racial violence that many had feared would follow the fall of apartheid. Mandela's leadership was not without challenges. South Africa, though free from apartheid, faced severe economic and social problems, many of which were the result of decades of institutionalized discrimination. Yet, Mandela remained focused on creating a country where all South Africans could live in dignity and equality, regardless of their race or background. As the first black president of South Africa, Mandela championed policies of social justice, economic reform, and national reconciliation. His presidency marked the beginning of a new era in South African politics, one characterized by hope, healing, and the promise of a better future. Long Walk to Freedom is more than just a personal account of Nelson Mandela's life. It is a testament to the power of the human spirit, the resilience of those who struggle for justice, and the importance of maintaining one's principles in the face of overwhelming adversity. Mandela's legacy extends far beyond his role as a political leader. He is remembered as a symbol of courage, forgiveness, and the universal struggle for freedom. Mandela's autobiography provides readers with a deep and personal insight into the man who helped shape the course of history. It is a story of sacrifice, struggle, and triumph, but it is also a story of hope. As Mandela himself wrote, "I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended." In conclusion, Long Walk to Freedom is not just a reflection of Mandela's personal journey, but also a profound exploration of the struggle for freedom and equality. It is a work that continues to inspire generations of readers around the world and serves as a reminder of the enduring power of hope, determination, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Through his life, his words, and his actions, Nelson Mandela taught us that the road to freedom may be long, but it is always worth walking.